Guys, we are live on the air. TigerBait live Wednesday night as usual. Buddy Songy in the house with myself, Mike Scarborough. Big show tonight. Got a lot of LSU football practice tidbits we can discuss. We're going to try and get to as many as your questions and comments. Obviously, a big day tomorrow. Colin Simmons and Caden Durham over at Duncanville, Texas at 2 o'clock are going to announce their decision. Sure looked like he was trending LSU for the previous week for both of them. Then in the last 18 hours, it seems like it's Simmons in Texas. And having talked to a couple of people and three folks, sources of mine in the state of Texas tonight, I assure you, even though some people think it's trending Texas for Colin Simmons, they're not saying it's a done deal. They're not highly confident. And to be honest with you, I think it's a coin flip right now. But we're going to find out tomorrow. And we can talk about that and anything else you want to. And welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Michael Scarborough, publisher at TigerBait.com. As always, hope everybody doing well. You know, a little bit of a transition. Kids back to school this week, whether it's tomorrow, today, or yesterday. And so I'm coming over here, and a lot of restaurants are a little slow. Look, the Tiger team took today off, but Mike and I didn't. I wanted to, but, you know, he's a tough guy to work for. And we got a little momentum with this show, and we try to bring you some tidbits. I had a little fun with you at the practice report the other day. Like one of the guys said, I was finally hydrated. But seriously, it has been an interesting camp in this regard. Number one, I think about 5 degrees hotter than normal. I remember some 92, 93, 95. But to have this many days of 100, I think this is at least 5 to 6 degrees hotter than the normal camp. But here's what I love about it, folks. We have had so much access. This is the fun part about what we do and the story we try to tell. The pieces of the puzzle. And we're getting a chance to see Brian Kelly and what he takes from day one in year 2 to what that's going to look like on the night of Sunday night on obviously Sunday, September 3rd, 6:30 ABC. Everybody will be there. We'll be watching. But isn't that exciting to see? Right now, man, you couldn't buy a cornerback or a safety in a fantasy football college draft from LSU, even with the most ardent LSU fans. But they've got 25 days to get it fixed, and they got ways to hide the deficiencies. And, boy, you got a lot of offensive opportunities. But this is fun for me to see how they look at the early stage, what they'll look like. They get into full pads tomorrow, start the scrimmage, another couple of weeks. You get your scrimmages, you get your depth chart, and then you got about 10 days, Mike, to fine-tune that puppy, because Florida State's yapping and LSU comes out 5, and on Monday we'll find out where AP has them. I don't think AP is going to have them any lower than 6 after coaches had 5. Could be 5 again.
And it's really high. But like we talked about the other night or on our practice report yesterday, in the last few days, anywhere from 5 to 8, I'm fine with. But yeah, we get Mike Denbrock tomorrow. We get Matt House midday on Saturday. And so super busy here at TigerBait. Of course, this show brought to you majorly by our title sponsor, Pride Roofing. We'll talk about Mike and Alex a little bit later in the show. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button and share it out on your social media, your Facebook wall, tweet it out, text it to your fellow LSU fan friends, and let them know about the show. And we're going to go to about 9 o'clock tonight. So let me scroll up and get to some of the comments. We had a bunch of guys brewing before we even went live. So we talked about this one right off the bat. Brian Tanya, do you think Simmons and Durham will be a Tiger tomorrow? I'm sticking with a high probability prediction for Caden Durham, running back, and Colin Simmons. I went back to alter on TigerBait. We have a prediction generator. I had put him in as an LSU prediction back in February or March, but I had it at medium, and I dropped it to low. I'm not going to switch it to Texas low, or I'm going to stick with LSU low right now. But I do think it's a coin flip. Is it 50-50? Is it 55-45 one way or the other? I think some of the crazy NIL numbers that are being reported out there or discussed is I don't believe it's accurate. And I talked to a source today in Texas who said as much. There's a part of me that also thinks that some of what we've been hearing in the last almost 24 hours is maybe some purposely produced drama to make the announcement tomorrow look even more. But we're gonna find out tomorrow. Colin Simmons likes to play the game. He likes to be on social media, and it's certainly gonna be interesting. We're gonna be there live, TigerBait on hand, covering that one. We're gonna have a lot of aftermath coverage on TigerBait, so you'll want to go to and subscribe and try us out for $1 if you're not already a subscriber to TigerBait. We're gonna have some stuff here on our YouTube channel as well.
All I want to add real quick for you LSU fans is that Brian Kelly and his staff have done everything possible to win the mama and the brother and Colin Simmons over. And let me tell you what, we talk about it all the time. Watch what they do, not what they say. The guy has loved it. He has been a pretty darn big of a king here with all of the attention, Burrow, Chase, Levy, Angel, all that, coming back to the splash. We know that he enjoys it. We talked about this also. That is a lot of pressure on Texas. Sarkisian got to get this kid. They have more money. It's a known fact.
Well, yeah,
but LSU has done everything. If you lose out tomorrow, don't freak out because the Tigers have had every little I dotted and T crossed. And then you still got 4 months, whether he says LSU tomorrow, you still got 4 months to wait. If he says Texas, still got 4 months to wait. And, oh, by the way, I just picked up a little tidbit. I think in the last 15 years, Texas has had 7 first-rounders. LSU's had 23 or 24. Now, a bunch of them, obviously 6 and 19. But still, it's that you can pay me now, you can pay me later. All those guys that went to Texas A&M for NIL, about what, 30% of them are already gone.
You just touched on it, and I mentioned it on your show. And talking to my Texas source earlier, and he is the guy in that market. And he made the comment, and it's what most of us here think, and it's what a lot of casual fans think. Colin Simmons absolutely matters more to them. Like it's a statement for them. If they were to lose a guy like that with what they're fighting coming in the SEC in 24, not that, look, you want to get those kids. He's a difference maker. He's probably, if you're talking about where might this LSU signing class finish nationally, because Louisiana doesn't have that many national 100 kids inside the state of Louisiana this year, although I think there's a few that belong there. You need to have a couple of guys like that out of state to make up, to get you possibly into just inside the top 5 or solidly in the middle of the top 10. And then you still have Dominic McKinley out there as a 5-star. But, there's a lot of pressure in Austin right now to show that they're turning the corner and building something where they're not just going to roll into the SEC and be a doormat for any extended period of time. They go to Alabama and get beat, and maybe it could get ugly. We'll see. And they don't win the Big 12, which they're picked to do, and you don't get a Colin Simmons. It's not a nice trajectory that they want in Austin right now.
Well, and look, they have used some things against LSU in a negative term that I don't think anybody is appreciative to, and talking about Jimmy Lindsey, and once again, thank the good Lord that man is out of the hospital. So we appreciate all you Tiger fans and everybody who watches throughout the country for putting Lindsey and his family in your prayers. So he's back home, long recovery. But look, I'll never forget Nick Saban. And, we all saw Nick when LSU played Michigan State in the Independence Bowl. And he was a dweeby guy with glasses and gray hair and all this. And nobody liked him. Of course, you come to LSU and all of a sudden everybody's dressing like him. You win a national championship and you say this guy's a little bit different. But one of the first things he came over and said from Michigan State, damn, Y'all recruit dirty as hell in the SEC. And now with OU and Texas, it's going to get even nastier. It's going to get even more money related. But once again, don't fret because you're getting some of these guys. We talked about Aaron Anderson. He's going to be your star punt returner and in the slot. You got him with the transfer portal. You can get him a backdoor. But look, it's going to be great tomorrow. But life's got to go on. We got a football game in 24 days after tomorrow.
Yeah, it's I will say this.
But it's nasty out
regardless of what Colin Simmons does tomorrow, don't kid yourself. If it's LSU or if it's Texas, based on what I've seen of that kid, and there's no way that he's not going to be at either school's a home game or two this fall. It's not going to be over tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, look, and hey, I'm not going to get spiritual on you, but I hope that the young man and his family gets on their knees and prays to get guidance from the good Lord. That's how I tackle every problem. I hope that they take that into consideration. And I don't think any of us, Mike, can have any inkling or clue about how this thing is going down because it's just too massive now with so many schools, so much money, so many interests, so many bystanders. And so we'll see. But as you said, tomorrow is not. You still got to wait till mid-December.
Cameron Tate says, thank you for another week of great coverage. Men, what are your feelings on the Duncanville duel tomorrow? We've been talking about that, obviously. I'm just getting scrolling up. Buzz going around in Texas. LSU's finishing that Texas is finishing strong with Simmons. Yes, we discussed that. Braden Christie, Durham is basically a done deal. Sooner analyst basically gave that up. I believe you're absolutely right. I'm sticking with a high LSU prediction on him. Kevin Ray says, thought the talk was LSU was getting Simmons tomorrow. Now I'm hearing UT. I think it's in the flip a coin range. I think this thing is very fluid right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's the thing. Fluid and listen, whoever gets the verbal commitment tomorrow is still having a lot of work to do. You're not going to let a guy of this magnitude, but let's not, if Durham commits to LSU, that ought to be a hell of a celebration. Don't put all your eggs in the basket of Colin Simmons, whether he's Texas or not.
Because think about where things were 2 or 3 months ago. No way LSU's getting Oklahoma. Heck, I've talked to multiple Texas guys, and they said no way they're getting him. That kid's been Oklahoma for years. And, I was thinking, might they go 0-2? Could Jancy go 0-2? Then we're thinking they were going to get both of them last week. And now they might look like they could split. I think it's a win either way. Don't forget, there's a 5-star wide receiver for the class of 2025 that is also in the mix that LSU's in great shape with. Big Cojones, Keller, good evening, Mike and Buddy. I'm assuming, and fellow Tiger Baiters, go Tigers. Mike Andrews, Florida State is killing it in recruiting. Matt Be Great had a podcast and they said they have taken NIL to the next level by paying high school kids monthly, BIB bucks monthly. Man, I've been hearing some crazy things NIL wise about NIL deals, monthly payments going to high school seniors, signing bonuses.
And I think the IRS just had a ruling on Texas A&M's collective. Basically, I think the gist of it, I just glimpsed at it, is that, these guys that are giving this money, they want it to be a tax write-off. I think they clipped some of those tax write-offs. And so we'll see. A lot of people think it's going to ruin college football. We got all this expansion. Yeah. Hey, let's just thank the good Lord we're not covering a Pac-12 team that only.
Don't you think the IRS is right, though? That shouldn't be a write-off.
No, look, I don't know.
Now,
you don't never know.
But buddy, it's a write-off.
It's rules that they set
but
up.
If it's an advertising expense, if you actually have a guy doing commercials for you, that's a business expense.
Yeah,
you can write that off. But just giving money to a collective, I don't know how you. It's not like the TAF.
By the way, go to Howard Perkins' website, folks. He's going to have some of the coolest shirts that you will see in Tiger Stadium this year. And got a couple of those for the grandkids, and they absolutely love them.
Blaine Smith, good evening. I just think LSU needs to call Simmons and family and make a statement by signing him. It's a statement that LSU can get the guy they really want. believe me, they're doing everything, and there's been a huge fight, and believe me, the LSU's done everything they can. Barry Barbie, both Simmons and McKinley are looking for NIL, not development. I'm not hearing a whole lot on Don McKinley as far as getting crazy with money and it being all about that. But you know, what's the going rate for some of these guys? Bryce Underwood, I'm hearing that's a $2 million NIL deal
for 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if he's worth $2 million, what is Harold Perkins worth?
Well, no, but I'm just figuring that out. So that'd be what, just short of $700,000 a year. Yeah, the numbers are getting a little crazy.
What is a 5-star defensive tackle worth?
Well, but
a quarterback is worth $2 million. That's a 5-star and the number 1 overall. And so you start saying, okay, what's a first team All-American All SEC linebacker worth? What's Will Campbell worth?
And this is what
a future first round draft pick.
But this is the problem with NIL, is that now we're talking about it in a professional mindset.
Oh, it's pro.
Yeah, the running backs are bitching because when they get tagged on a yearly deal, the most they make is 10.1 or 2 mil. Look, as we talk about, if you want NIL flourishing, look at what LSU is doing. Can you imagine what LSU would do from an NIL standpoint for Colin Simmons after what you've seen with Angel Reese, Livy Dunn, and the rest? I mean, Flaugier and all of them. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, I brought this up, and people look at me like I'm crazy. The girls can make more money.
Yeah.
Because they can sell cosmetics, they can sell clothing, they can sell flavored water. They're more marketable.
Well, look, Brian Kelly has also intimated that if you are going to a school strictly for NIL money, you don't have the right mindset. That's a perk. That should not, in my opinion, be the main determinant. Now, look, Texas is going to brag. Everything's bigger in Texas. We got more money than you. We got better gumbo than you. Yeah, keep drinking.
Yeah, bigger arrogance, too.
Bigger egos. But we'll see. It's not a done deal either way, but I do think that I am hearing from people when it gets into a bidding war and you start talking about $500,000 a year for a kid or whatever, it does worry the common sports fan.
Clint Phillips from the Parish, he says, at Mike, will LSU end up with a top 5 class? I think in order to get there, you probably let's see where the math figures out here. I've seen LSU anywhere from 7 to 9 in the last couple of weeks. You add a Caden Durham. Let's say they do split tomorrow. You add a Caden Durham. You get a Dominic McKinley and a few others down the line. I think they're going to be right in the middle of the top 10, but I think maybe a Colin Simmons maybe gets you just inside the top 5. But, you know, I'm not following what Ohio State and others in Notre Dame, what they have left on their board, to be honest with you. As long as this class is in the middle of the top 5, I think it's in great shape, considering the fact, like I said earlier, Louisiana doesn't have, 4 or 5 national 100 guys inside the state this year.
Look, fill your needs, quit worrying about ratings, and don't forget you've got a mulligan with the transfer portal. And I don't think we have mentioned enough what Brian Kelly and his staff have had to do to replace his secondary and why it's in the shape that it's in right now. George Bernard Converse, of course, your man at ULL who ended up pretty darn good. Mackay, as we know, Garner, Seven Banks, who was hurt, Greg Brooks, and Joe Fouché. 5 DBs from the transfer portal last year. 4 of those 5s are gone. So now you got to bring in Zy Alexander and Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harrison. I don't think people realize that, look, so what if you don't have a top 5 or 6? You can go get players from the transfer portal, and that we have seen they have had to do that. Kelly doesn't want to do it. He wants to do it mostly with recruits. But let's be honest. They've got to get a lot of DBs in here, and they need pass rushers like Colin Simmons. But if he says no, you go get somebody else, maybe even with some experience.
All right, guys, it's that time of the show. Let's hear from Mike and Alex.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get to Niger and Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof, why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof, you came on the Pride umbrella, bet on Pride.
855
Pride
16.
There they are, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez. Pride Roofing just moved into a huge state-of-the-art building in Hammond. Moved their location right there in Albany to Hammond. And, of course, locations all around the state of Louisiana as well. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. Anywhere from Baton Rouge to the North Shore down to Houma, they've got you covered. Nobody does roofs better, commercial or residential, than Pride Roofing. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to get free TigerBait premium for a year. That's a $99 value, no obligation. Just get a free estimate, free inspection, and they're going to say TigerBait, and they're going to give you a TigerBait premium subscription for 1 year.
Working hard to establish that Baton Rouge office. Mike Kirby, Vernon, and others on Government Street, 275-2041. Commercial, residential, and as always say, the metal roof business is very hot. No pun intended. You know how hot it is up on those roofs. Can you imagine doing that? And here's the great thing, folks. We got qualified, insured people who know what they're doing. They get there early. They take care of you. We're going to be competitive with pricing, and you're going to have great pride when this puppy holds up through all of the weather factors that we have to deal with. Bottom line, good people. Speaking of Hammond, sponsorship with the Southeastern Lions and the what facility is that? The baseball facility. They got
Basketball arena.
Basketball arena. So expanding, and once again, as we said with PFM, I misspoke. It was not his nephew; it was his stepson. He did business with Pride. His stepson did business with Pride. That's the way we want to work, folks. They don't do a lot of advertising. Word of mouth. Trust me. You will not be disappointed. Give these folks an opportunity. 855-PRIDE-16, anywhere else outside of Baton Rouge.
Stephen Young, more interested in McKinley than Simmons. Louisiana 5-stars hit at a much higher level than the NFL. If they go to LSU and they go out of state. And he says, thanks to Preston Guy.
I was going to give a shout out to Preston Guy. Somebody had sent me something they had seen on drop-ins about Preston Guy's thing, and it was some elaborate stats about 5-star and recruits. And Mike, that's the other thing.
Well, I'm glad Preston's working on that. And he's not just playing with his Xbox. And
I was giving him a compliment, and there you are, the boss man, getting him ready. By the way, don't forget, check them into the wee hours of the morning after LSU and Florida State. And I got a feeling we're going to have some Seminole fans coming into the chat in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Preston's show started back up Monday night. They had a really good show. Zach Nagy from the LSU Sports Illustrated site joined them, and they had a really good show. Check that out every Monday right here on this channel. That's why you need to hit the subscription button and notification bell. You'll get alerted as soon as they go live. All right, let's scroll down here. Hughes Bowden, Mike, after a week of practice, do you feel any different about your 11-1 prediction? Buddy put me in the 12-0 club. No, I'm in the same spot, but you know, like I always say, I always give you a little asterisk there, and unless they start having some injuries that it's some key positions between now and opening weekend, I'm gonna stick at 11-1.
Great family, the Bowden family had the holiday homework shop. Hugh shopped over there many years, and Hughes and his brother and his daddy and everybody, his sister, big LSU fans. And Hughes literally would be in the 12-0 club. And of course, 1 year we took them to Rufino's, and Chef Peter and Ruffin paid for everybody when they went 12-0. You know what kind of year you have in the restaurant business when you go 12-0, right? But bottom line is that I still want to see, and it's probably not tonight to talk about it, but as we were talking about the pieces to the puzzle, I like to talk about the strategy of what these coaches are going to see as their assets versus liabilities, and you want to lean on your positives and hide your weak spots. We'll talk about some strategy. I'm going to tell you a little hint right now. I think LSU is going to run the football a little bit more because the clock not stopping, Mike. You could run the ball and hold on to the ball 4, 5, 6 minutes with this clock not stopping. And that's the best way you keep your secondary off the field. I'm not saying they're not going to get better, but this is not what we normally see with DBU. So have some patience. These guys are going to take a while. Florida State's going to make some plays. LSU will outscore them in the end.
I'm not ready to make a determination on whether these guys are lousy or mediocre, these cornerbacks for LSU, until – I need to go back and look at that.
I didn't say they're lousy.
Well, no, but a lot of people saying, they're getting burned. And I'm like, where's the pass rush?
Yeah.
I mean, Jaden Daniels and Nussmeyer can just sit back there and it's playing flag football. I mean, let's see when all the full pads are on and he's got Ovie Ogofu and Mason Smith coming up on him.
Well, see, that's one of my strategic things, the pass rush. And, oh, by the way, I like this shirt. Everybody knows it. But I'm going to give you the Cougar package. You ready? Harold Perkins, number 4 on one end, and Omar Spates, number 1 on the other end. That is going to be the Cougar package that Matt House launches this year. I made the name up. They twerk, they lean, they bend that body. You remember how Harold Perkins bends that body to get so low so fast to quarterback? Guess what? Number 1 can do it almost as good. Trust me, I think they're going to have an awesome pass rush, and that's going to be important because of protecting the backside.
Absolutely. John Sibley Butler says NIL is not sustainable in the long run for all sports programs. Yeah, you just wonder, is it year 3, year 4, or is it sooner than that of NIL that it settles in and people start to get a lot more reasonable and sane about what's out there. I will also say that I think some of the stuff that you hear out there is being over exaggerated. One of the things I've been hearing since last night is that Texas is going to pay $1.2 million for Colin Simmons. I'm told that is not the number. But could you get there? I will say this: if it's $700,000 for a 3-year deal, I know what the deal was for a certain New Orleanian who went out of state to play college football not too long ago.
I know,
and that was before NIL, and I have a pretty good idea of what the word on the street was, how much he was getting each month, and it ain't that far off.
And he's still playing. Oh, man. Look, folks, I think the premise of pay for play is something that we all fret about because you don't want to lose, and there's not much innocence left in this world, but you don't want to lose the difference between college and pro, and that margin, of course, is getting thinner each year because of NIL. But like I said, transfer portal expansion. Look, you can't be an old fart that is hard-headed and don't want to change. You got to move with the changes. And we'll be talking about some changes that we'll personally be making with Mike later on in the football season.
Barry Barbie, for the last 10 years, Alabama's had the highest paid players in the SEC. And for the last 4 years, Georgia has paid more than Alabama. Now Texas will beat them both. Well, that was always the running deal with Les Miles was, how is it that LSU loses all their juniors and Alabama gets all their guys to come back for a senior year? Yeah, Saban was likely to and be pretty darn close to accurate that they were playing for a national championship the next year. But there was a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, sure.
It's easy to keep players when the stipend is equivalent of late round NFL money.
Well, and this is why both Nick and Kirby a year or so ago called for legislation to curtail NIL. I mean, they saw Texas A&M, what they did, and that's what led to the tete-a-tete with Jimbo and Nick.
Let's scroll up here. Eric DeLeon, hearing all this NIL talk is crazy. This is against everything it was set up to be. It's time to make them employees or go back to giving them a stipend, and that's it. Talk about ruining college football. Yeah, well, like Sankey has said and others, you really open up a can of worms when you set them up as employees. You know, because then I'm wondering when's the next Title IX issue, right? You set them up as employees. Well, how much you got to pay the softball girls?
Well, look, you get into here's the biggest thing that I was always concerned about was the locker room. So you got a quarterback that we intimated, and I think Arch Manning had a big $100,000 thing that he gave to charity. It was an NIL related function. But suppose Arch Manning is getting $1 million a year and his left tackle is getting $100,000 a year. I don't want to have that fired. And look, LSU's already fighting each other on the thing, but I just think you got to keep a lot of that stuff out of the premise of being a team, having one goal, bonding, brotherhood, and let's go win a damn championship.
Yeah.
This pay for play.
And I can tell you this for sure. College coaches don't want the amounts out there floating around, and it's a big conversation. You'd like for everybody to keep quiet about it if you're a head football coach.
I mean, it's been going on. Everybody out there knows it's been going on for 70, 80 years. But still, it's getting to border out of control. And I don't know if there's a solution, Mike. I really don't. But I'll tell you this, Brian Kelly is not going to take a bunch of guys that are more invested about me, and what am I getting on an NIL deal. That's not what he's selling. He's selling character, graduation, becoming a man, doing the right things, having a great experience. Yes, every kid that comes on that campus wants to be a professional football player or whatever athlete. But I think LSU right now, there's a reason LSU brand is hot right now. Look at those championships in basketball and look at those championships with baseball. Did you see Angel Reese more worried about an NIL deal before championship? That came after, Mike. That was one of the perks.
Right.
So
absolutely.
You don't want to disrupt your locker room if it gets out of control.
LSU fans, beat the heat and get over to Drip IV for all your hydration needs. The heat has been killer this summer. Like Buddy talked about earlier, all the consecutive 100-degree days, dehydration is absolutely real. Drip IV will guide you to the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. These IVs are also great for anyone feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They are loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, and electrolytes designed to get you back feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, cold, or preparing for a vacation, they have what you need. Located next to Sushiyama and Iverstein's and Perkins Crossing on the corner of Perkins and Essen, a super convenient spot and always welcome walk-ins. For our Lafayette Tiger fans, head to your local Drip IV in Cordoba off of Ambassador Caffrey, First Medical Office building on the right. Drop in and check them out and mention hearing them on our show for $10 off your first IV drip. For appointments, you can book online or call the location nearest you. Absolutely. Drip IV. Give them a call, 225-256-3634. And they are absolutely fantastic. I've had a couple of them already, and they work. All right, guys, let me get to some more of your comments.
Where you at, Snake, Tiger, Shark?
Yeah, STTDB says he's been in the hospital twice due to dehydration. It's amazing when you go get the
Wait a minute. This is the guy that said I was too old to be in the sun.
No, is it?
Is it Scott?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Scott said, buddy, you're getting too old to do. Look, I will tell you this. We said it earlier. This has been some brutal heat. While you get more, I got to ask you a quick question. Do you think this is going to help this team for the start of the season? Because you got to be getting in shape. I mean, you and I are feeling better. Yeah, it's hell when you're 5 or 10 overweight and you're out there, you're going out there and sweating. But
I haven't looked at Florida State. I'm assuming, what's the difference?
But I'm saying, do you think Kelly and Jake Flint are going to have this team with plenty of legs and not beat up, because let me tell you, folks, we've seen a litany of guys going in and out. It is not easy to practice in these conditions.
That's why they're doing half inside, half outside. And you notice they're mixing up. It's obvious to me they're trying to figure out which stretch is when they need to go inside. I mean, they're really doing it as smart as they can. But you got to get out in the heat. You're just going to have to. You can't stay inside the entire time. But I think they've got a good mix of it right now. Bart Smokey says exactly about making college football players, employees. He says employees get health benefits and retirement plan contributions.
Well, and then you got to pay taxes, and that's the other thing too. There's a whole can of worms that can be opened on this thing.
Absolutely. Chris Scott, Mike, I wonder if Lindsey takes the rest of the year off and we have to hire a new defensive line coach in the offseason. Look, there's a lot of rumors out there about what it might be. I don't want to touch that. It's a good sign that he's home, but like Coach Kelly said yesterday, he's got a long road to recovery, and you just keep him and his family in your prayers. And he's still a young guy, and hopefully he comes through on the other side, and he's able to get back there as soon as he can. And
once again, a tip of the hat to Brian Kelly. He had a great analyst with Bob Diaco that comes in. Bob's got a lot of experience, worked with Kelly. So has John Jancic. A seamless transition. We all pray and hope that Jimmy Lindsey will get well and recover. But how about the seamless transition? I'm thinking Diaco is going to be the guy that you guys talk to on special teams. Jancic, of course, was put out in the early thing because he was a special teams coach. But Diaco, according to some of my coaching buddies, he can get a little spicy. And how about Joe Sloan getting a little spicy on Nuss? Nuss, let's kick it up a notch, buddy. Everybody's watching. There's more access. And, you know, that kid, as we know, it's going to be fun to see if he gets an opportunity or two each week to throw it because, man, Jaden Daniels, Mike, preseason number 5. He's wearing number 5. You keep him healthy. He could have one of those awesome years again.
And by the way, going back to Bart Smokey earlier in his comment, I want to add big thanks to Bart and his son Brian for sponsoring our Smokey Investment Team practice reports. Those have been getting a ton of views by you guys, a lot of likes and comments, and appreciate all the nice comments you guys enjoying those. And we'll be rolling those out there every opportunity that we get. And another reason to hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Check out the Smokey Investment Team. Nobody does it better than them right there in Alexandria.
Super guy. Everybody that I know that work with Bart in the banking business can't say enough great things about him.
All right. Yeah, Scooby. I'm waiting to see when these NIL deals cause tax problems for players. Yeah, I mean, they're all getting an education about paying taxes, and nothing wrong with learning all about that as soon as possible. TNT Tiger, remember Ismail Sofsher? Now that fat barber is irrelevant. Don't fret, we'll be fine.
TNT, that's the original TNT, yeah. Huh? Man, had a classic meltdown with Tim Brando on my show. If that's the same TNT, I don't know, 20 years ago, but he can get spicy too. You know what? Look, that's what is so great about LSU. I had a buddy of mine call me up. He was all excited, and I'm lagging here, but he says, I just booked a trip to go see LSU kick USC's ass in Las Vegas next year. So, look, it's going to be a lot of fun these next couple of years.
All right, guys. We got 420 in here. That's a good number, 420. Holden Lee, do you think Colin Simmons shocked the world? And it might be a Miami choice, or is it strictly LSU? And it's strictly LSU in Texas. There's no Miami there.
No, Capital Twins have left.
Yeah.
Mike and I had a little fun with the Capital Twins. Of course, they did get a slap on the wrist with their NIL deal. They do have a sugar daddy, John Ruiz, who is trying to buy Miami back. This is the interesting thing that we got to tie in. Programs that have been down, USC, Miami, teams like that coming back, Texas A&M, trying to buy their way into a championship. I'm not going to say this in a negative way, but Steve Sarkisian could fall off the boat, this year in a couple of different ways, on and off the field. So nothing is a given. Like nobody knew that Coach Lindsey would get sick. You just never can predict it. But I do think that people love the drama. But when the smoke clears tomorrow about 2:30 or 3, you got to get back to the grind to prepare to play Florida State on September 3rd.
Guys, I'm thinking about our practice report tomorrow. I may do it the traditional way. Buddy's not with me tomorrow, but I'm thinking I might do a combo instead. Instead of doing a practice report, I might do a practice report wrap up of what Colin Simmons and Caden Durham do, and we might go live right after, or maybe I'll do 2. But be on the lookout for that. I might call an audible tomorrow, and I'll be in my office set up for that one if we decide to do the different and do a combo practice report and talk about what Caden Durham and Colin Simmons decided.
I'll be back on Saturday. We'll have another report on Saturday and also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So chock full. It's very hot. This is a tough time at camp. You got to fight through it. And hopefully you don't have too many bumps and bruises and guys leaving because of the inordinate of heat that we've had to deal with.
All right, let me scroll up here. Jared Guillory says, it's just me, but I feel like LSU and Texas and others recruiting hard early and faster than normal. Still a whole season till December signing day. Seems like Texas thinks it's signing day tomorrow. It's everybody. I mean, since the December signing period was instituted, 4 years ago? Is it 4 years ago now? Everything's been sped up, and LSU's been sitting at over 20 commitments by Labor Day the last 3 years, right? So they're on pace. And if you get both of them tomorrow, where are you at, 24?
But you got unlimited. You still have unlimited. I mean,
right.
Look.
But still, that's a big number before in August.
I know, but you got unlimited as long as you don't exceed 85. So once again, another perk for Brian Kelly in the rebuild.
Guys, if you're enjoying the show, again, please hit that like button and share. You guys greatly appreciate you guys doing that for us each and every week. All right, let me scroll down and get some more of these. Dane Bergeron, Mike's nice look with the Mafia hat at practice. Make them an offer they can't refuse in the press conference.
Yeah. You've gotten a lot of compliments on the hat, and of course, Dane and Shark had a little fun with you.
Yeah. Scrolling up here. Clint Phillips from the Parish. Look out for Savion Jones this year. Dane Bergeron got 5 stars across the defensive line going to dominate. Yeah, I mean, he sat down for us Monday. And 290 pounds.
Did he say 288 or 280?
288.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's put on right at 50 pounds since he's gotten at LSU. And I remember him. I filmed one of his last games against Sterlington in a playoff game, and him running all over the field. And what amazed me about him was, if you saw his highlight tape that I put together that I filmed that night, he just was running all over. He didn't necessarily get the quarterback, but he never stopped. The motor just running and running. And I think he's going to have a big year. I really do. Super kid.
Look, that defensive line is going to be very impressive. Ovio Gofu is a really good-looking kid. Of course, Mason and Makai Wingo next to each other. But Braden Swenson's going to bring some pressure from the edge. They love Jackson Howard and his potential. Deshaun Womack is back out there now, getting acclimated to the speed of the game. Quincy Wiggins is a raw, true freshman that we're all pulling for. I mean, God bless that young man getting hit by a car, and we could have lost him a couple of years ago. Fitzgerald West, his buddy, lost a bunch of weight at 285. Jordan Jefferson, nose guard coming in from West Virginia. Paris Shan, another transfer out west. He's been banged up a little bit, number 94. I think it's going to be a crucial part of this football team this year. Better play on the defensive line, more depth and more pressure. LSU had 29 sacks last year on the defense and gave up 45. I want to see those numbers reverse. More sacks than what you give up, for sure.
Hey, Tiger fans, when you want to show your LSU Tiger pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide hats, Yeti gifts, and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shops. And they have the new Nikes in stock. They don't really carry shoes, but they have a limited supply of the really hot Nike LSU shoes right now, and got a lot of great new stock in time for football season. Go visit Alumni Hall in their beautiful store right there in Perkins Row.
Give yourself 15 to 30 minutes, folks. It's not something that you want to get in there and get in. Well, first of all, when you get over there after all the traffic, you want to take your time and as we know, they go out of their way to make you guys and women happy.
Brad David, why does Louisiana produce so many good defensive linemen but not many offensive linemen?
That's a misnomer. Are you telling me Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and Lance Hurd? Oh, by the way, Tyree Adams from St. Aug's looks pretty damn good. That's 4 from in-state. I'm probably missing a few. But I do think there's been a past history of that, don't you? But I think it's changed a little bit as of late.
And I will say that I think there's been a lot of times where I've seen where there's some defensive linemen in the state of Louisiana at the high school level that probably should have moved to the offensive line. They would have been a higher rated prospect.
You told Will Blackwell it was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah.
At least that's the way I remember it.
But it's also been where, we've seen a run of really high-end offensive linemen lately. Is it all cyclical? I mean, one thing the state does do, though, is produce wide receivers and DBs. All right, Golden Boot Pod. Check them out every Sunday night. It says Mike and Buddy in the building. Great show on Sunday nights. You guys go check that out.
Pooh Bear, you gotta love the Pooh Bear and his group.
Absolutely. Clint Phillips, what time is Duncanville commitments tomorrow, Mike? 2:00 Central. And I've got a guy there on the ground that's going to be covering it for us. We're going to have a lot of interviews afterwards and all that stuff. So be looking on TigerBait, and I'm going to have some video as well after here on our YouTube channel. Let's see. Antron Hemingway at TigerBait. What's up, guys? Thanks you for streaming tonight. Thought I'd stop by and say hi to you guys. And again, thanks for streaming tonight. Go Tigers. All right. Glad to have you with us, Antron. Yeah, that was one. Let me Stenlaw Tiger. They missed out on offensive tackle Cody Ford out of Pineville, for example. Yeah, that one made no sense to me. That was
Where did he end up going?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Big time.
Well, no, look, it's not. I'm just not saying that they haven't had some misses, but I mean, really, you and I've been talking recruiting in the state for a long time. Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and Lance Hurd are pretty damn impressive. By the way, in case you missed the practice report, Lance Hurd was signed at about 310. We got these updates. You know, I'm a roster nerd. One time in the summer he was 330, then it was 335. Now he's 340. He literally, when he gets his hands on you, he picks you up, pushes you down, and then he pancaked Deshaun Womack. And that kid is going to learn from it. But I don't know if he's the future next great tackle. But we could be talking about 53 pushing Emory Jones inside by midseason. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying he is going to play a lot of football. Look, we talked about it. You said Emory Jones is your favorite going into the year on O-line. I said Will Campbell. It's a great problem to have.
Well, he was asking me who I thought was looking the best so far.
Yeah.
But
I mean, those two guys get along. They're a great tandem. But Lance Hurd is a monster of a guy. And Charles Turner, the smallest guy, 300 pounds. He's now 300 pounds. But, man, I'm excited to see because Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock, with now these tight ends coming in here, don't freak if you see LSU play a little more smash mouth at the line of scrimmage this year.
Dane Burns wrong. This will be the best defensive line LSU's had in a long time. I think you're right, Dane. And they've got some guys they can rotate in, and they should have some fresh legs in fourth quarters.
By the way, I forgot to mention Jacoby and Gilry, who's had a real good camp.
Yeah.
Tank has been good. You know the deal with Tank. If you keep your weight down, you're going to play, man. Him and Marlon Martinez and all those guys that are on the fringe hope that, because you got to lose some weight during this heat and this conditioning. But, you know, as we all know, it's got a lot of opportunities to eat. So stay away from that fast food and keep that body. If Tank, what did you say today? If we could get Tank Gilry, what, 15 plays a game? Probably about what we're looking for, huh?
I think
10, 15.
Yeah, and I think there's several guys that they'd like to have 15 plays, and then
they're going to play a lot of guys on the D line. So I agree with Snake's comment.
Chance Babin asked Mike, why would Colin and Durham schedule same day if not a package? Well, it's actually Duncanville football's media day tomorrow, and so they're doing it in conjunction with that. I don't think either one of them has either bearing on each other. They are teammates, but LSU could go 2-0 tomorrow. I'm saying Durham is I'm picking LSU, and I'll say Colin Simmons is a coin flip. It could be 56-44 Texas right now, and it might be 56-44 LSU tomorrow.
I don't give those.
We're going to find out at 2:00 tomorrow.
I don't give those kind of percentages after Thomas Pittman many years ago, but I will say this. There's a high probability that puppy is not going to start at 2:00. How many times you're sitting there? It's coming up at 2:00, man. You're refreshing and here's the guy. The coach comes in, and you got all this fanfare. So it wouldn't shock me.
Well, I will say this, because you're going to have multiple media outlets they're streaming live.
Yeah. That
That usually lights the fire for them to get it going in and out. So
but how many you think are going to actually make their commitment tomorrow? Besides Durham and
that's
Kyle?
it.
That's it. Okay.
That I'm aware of. So, all right, guys, we got a lot coming your way tomorrow, and it's gonna be a long day tomorrow. We're gonna have a practice report. I might combine it with, like I said, the news later in the day and do like a live little spot in late afternoon. I'll figure that out tomorrow. But we're gonna have a practice report either way tomorrow. Video from practice. We also get Mike Denbrock. We'll have that video for you. And, of course, multiple pieces on the news from Duncanville, Texas. So go to TigerBait.com, subscribe, try us out for $1. And if you're not already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Mike Scarborough, thanks, Buddy Songy, for being with me tonight. And
good seeing you. And have a great one, folks. Stay hydrated. And, Mike, I hope you get a good night's sleep. That's a long day for you tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Good night.